What up, Laker Nation? It's your boy DTLF back with another live stream. As the Lakers fall short, man, we played solid basketball for the first three quarters, especially second and third quarter. I thought we were gonna have a chance there in the fourth, but it was fool's gold, man. At the end of the day, they were just too much. The six man, the refs were just too much, and the rotation, or lack of good rotations, was just too much, guys. We made some boneheaded plays. Um, but there was a lot of positives to be had from this game. First off, let's start with the negatives. Let's for sure start with the negatives. Mo Wagner balled out, man. He was one of the main spark plugs that came off the bench and helped us catch up and eventually take the lead versus the Warriors. This is why I don't get Luke's logic. Not only did Mo Wagner ball out, but as he was hooping, he subbed him out for, I think it was JaVale McGee or Zubats. I don't remember. And we lost momentum. And then he didn't play him in the second half until it was garbage time once they got a full lead. So very upset with Luke, but what's new there? I mean, I'm numb. I'm numb to stupidity now and lack of good rotation. So pretty much I'm used to this. And that fourth quarter was atrocious. Also, the rotations there were garbage. I thought Rondo was sensational. Brandon Ingram was sensational for three quarters, but he kind of disappeared in the fourth. I really thought Rondo, man, he's ready. If we ever face Golden State this year in a 7-game series, if we get lucky enough to make the playoffs, because look, LeBron out was disappointing. That was very disappointing, and it hit me by surprise simply because load management. What is that? I get it, you're sore, whatever, but if he's not injured, he shouldn't be at least playing some minutes. It's okay if they play him limited minutes, but I think his presence just on the floor would have gave us the momentum we needed to win this game tonight, and it sucks that he wasn't even out on the bench. So for those of you LeBron fans, that was very suspect. I'm not sure Kobe would have ever did that. And again, I'm not holding the standard up to Kobe because I know it's so high, but a team leader and a superstar like LeBron needs to at least be there for his teammates. It's one thing not to play. It's another just not even to be there. And also, I'm very concerned for two players. Number one, Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, I'm not sure if it's his hip still bothering him or his heart's not in it because he thinks he's going to get traded. But if that's the case, they're better off benching him. If it's his hip or his confidence, they're better off benching him because he has hurt us with turnovers and boneheaded plays lately. So as much as I love the kid, I'm a little disappointed in his play as of late. And if it's his hip, it's not really his fault, but they shouldn't play him like that. Might as well sit him too if LeBron's going to get a pass. So, and also Josh Hart. Somebody put out an APB for his jump shot. That thing is broken, and his driving too. I'm shocked his whole game, and I know he's been injured as well, but same thing, man. Next man up. I don't know why Svi didn't get any minutes. We needed some shooters tonight. Again, Wagner should have played. I think if I was Luke, I would have came in with a power play, right? I would have started probably Mo Wagner in the second half. That's how good he was playing. It's a shame that Luke Walton can't make these on-the-fly adjustments. If you don't start him, at least give him some solid minutes. He outplayed all of our bigs tonight, and I don't even understand why he doesn't get regular rotation minutes. He's too talented. Last I checked, he was a first-round pick for a reason, and Luke Walton hasn't utilized him even to the – he hasn't really used him much this season, man. He's just here and there, garbage minutes here and there, and when we get into injuries. So I don't get it. And it's driving me nuts. It's to the point where I get people want him to be fired, but it looks like we're going to ride this one-trick pony all the way to the end of the season. Luke Walton is a one-trick pony. And what I mean is the only thing he sticks to, the only thing he's consistent with is his poor rotations as far as taking out players when they're hot, not bringing back players when they're making an impact during the game, not calling timeouts, at the right moments. He waits till we go down 15 to call the final timeout. I'm like, what is going on? But that's beyond the point. The point is, tonight the Lakers fought for three quarters with a depleted roster and no stars. And we dang near almost pulled this off had we continued that consistency into the fourth quarter, and rotations would have been on point. And, of course, if LeBron would have played, I'm pretty sure we would have been in this all the way to the fourth. So it was disappointing, but I am proud of especially Brandon, who, by the way, I want to talk about Brandon Ingram. And this is one of the positives. Something has clicked for this kid. The last 10 games or so, he's been very efficient. He's been attacking. He's been hitting that mid-range shot, and he's been taking people off the dribble, doing a drop step, posting them up, doing everything. Hey, no pill zero with the donation. Thank you, brother. He said Wagner has shown more than Svi, to be honest. Absolutely, and they haven't even played him, so it's a shame. But where was I? Oh yeah, Brandon Ingram is showing me something, man. The kid's gonna be special. It's gonna be a shame to have to trade him away. I hope somehow we can hold on to one of these three kids, but especially Brandon. Brandon, I've always said, has the highest ceiling from the three because he has all the tools, man. If he just puts it together, if it clicks in his head that he needs to stay aggressive at all times and use that length to finish the way he's been doing and shooting over defenders, he's going to be a top 10 player in this league. I've been saying it from the beginning, man. And it's going to be a shame to see him have to develop that in another team. So a part of me is kind of hoping that we keep Brandon, but the other side, I know we need Anthony Davis. So I'm heartbroken, for the young core. Like, part of me wants to keep him. The other part wants Anthony Davis. T said, DTLF, they were playing dirty at times, making me mad to watch. I understand that 100%, T. We were tweeting about this for the most part. And this league's agenda has been like that, man. Superstars get all the little ticky-tack calls. Referees wait till they go and blow the layup to give them a foul call. When the Lakers are getting pushed, shoved around, getting tripped, all kinds of stuff is happening. We can't buy a whistle. So it's very unfortunate. You guys saw what Kevin Durant did. He threw the ball right at Josh Hart, and they waited till Josh Hart retaliated to call a double tech. And also, what's up with DeMarcus pushing people around? He pushed KCP, he pushed Rajon Rondo, and he pushed Mo Wagner. So I'm sorry, and Zoo. So it's nuts to see that they get away with all this stuff, and the Lakers can't even bat an eye at the refs because that'll be a tech. So unfortunate, but it is the way the league is being ref nowadays. James Harden is the primary person that takes advantage of the referees, but the Warriors aren't far behind. Dan, did you hear Van Gundy's comments about the young core? Yeah, I don't really care about Van Gundy, man. Honestly, I lost all respect for a lot of the telecasters. I'm glad Mark Jackson was actually giving us props tonight, but that usually doesn't happen on any given night. So it is what it is. Dan, did you see Durant trying to act like a tough guy? Yeah, that cupcake isn't tough, man. He ain't tough. Let's be real. Refs hate us. Media hates us. 29 owners hate us because we're great, man. The greater you get, the more hate you get. Trust me, I get a lot of crazy comments on this channel. As we continue to grow this channel, comments are going to keep pouring in. You guys don't see all the comments that I get because, again, if they're inappropriate, they're going to get deleted. People are going to get blocked. But I get some atrocious comments like, why are you writing LeBron James? Since when have I written LeBron James? I've always been honest about him. I say I like him. I don't love him until he wins a chip. I don't see how that's writing anybody. So, again, people just make absurd comments all the time, and you kind of have to just rock with them. The greater you get, the more hate you're going to get. And the Lakers are at the absolute top of greatness. We basically we are the epitome of greatness. We're sitting on gold, on a gold mine, and you got all these thieves and all these haters coming in trying to, hate. And that just shows you that greatness is always going to be hated on, man. Just like Kobe was hated on in his prime. Just like some people even hated Jordan. Just like now some people hate LeBron. Greatness always hated on. He said, even on Twitter, they go solo to talk about Magic and the AIDS stuff. Yeah, that's so disrespectful. Like, how are you going to disrespect the man? He made a mistake. He paid for it. He paid his dues. Nobody's perfect. They always try to disrespect somebody, but they don't have nothing. That's all they got on Magic. Magic was so Showtime. He's better than any point guard they could ever dream of. Any point guard they can concoct in their tiny little pinky in the brain, and they can't even imagine a better point guard than Magic, and they have to disrespect him. That's all it is. Steven, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. He said, we would have won if LeBron didn't abandon us. I agree, Steve, and this is why LeBron has always been heavily criticized. It's not even hate at this point. It's the fact that, and this is the reason sometimes I have to agree with Skip, his mentality has, as good as his body of work has been and his skill set and all this, sometimes his mentality lacks. Like singing to Kyrie makes him look soft. Not showing up for the Warriors game after showing up for the Clipper game makes him look soft. Not even coming out of the locker room makes him look soft. Stuff like that. And that's the reason, it's not even about being a stan of nothing, but that's the reason some people, they get offended that Kobe doesn't even get mentioned in the same sentence as Michael Jordan and LeBron, when it should be Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, But of course, for us Laker fans, it's Kobe up here and everybody below. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you guys is Greatness will always be disrespected, no matter what. We got to keep Bi. No, seriously. Brandon is really good. It's gonna hurt to see all these kids go. I know Kuzma's not playing right now. I'm not sure if it's the hip or is it trade rumors, but as soon as that clears up, we'll see Kuzma back at 100. I'm not really too worried about him, but I just wish that he was. If had he showed up tonight like he normally does, then this would have probably been a victory. Him or LeBron or anybody, or even Lonzo. We definitely miss Lonzo. But I will say this. Rondo's doing a great job, man. He's been kicking into overdrive, been dropping like 12 assists per game, facilitating for everybody, and even scoring. And this is why I was so happy when we signed Rondo. So, Dan, when are you going to post your park highlights? Oh, man, it's been a while, bro. Actually, I don't even go to the park. I go to the gym. I just don't have nobody to record. I don't have nobody to record our games. If somebody volunteered and want to go record our games, my girl usually stays here or she goes to the gym to work out. So, I don't really have nobody to record. If I did, man, trust me, guys, we've been having some fire games every Sunday. We go to the Rancho Cucamonga Center, and we've been having some beast games over there. I had like 3 game winners and 3 straight games the last time. So my wrist's getting better. It kind of impacted my elbow a bit as well, but I put some, what do they call it, icy hot, and it was taken care of. So I'm getting back to my Hooper days. Fresh cut, Dan, looking crispy. Thank you, bro. Gotta look good for Super Bowl, man. Tripod. You know what? It's not even that. It's not even the tripod. It's just the way we play. You got to move the camera back and forth. You got to focus. You got to zoom in, zoom out. A lot of action going on. You could put the tripod, but what if somebody's standing in front of it and then the action gets blocked, right? It's not the same where you have somebody actually recording, zooming in, focusing on the action. That's all I'm saying. Dan, we get an AD? Well, there was a report, and I'm glad you asked this because I was going to bring this up, but sometimes I lose my train of thought. There was a report stating that the Lakers and the Pelicans are going to resume trade talks next week, and the Pelicans are going to come out with an offer. Rumor has it they're looking for a second first-round pick, and as well as substituting one of the players for an expiring contract. Who knows if Magic will do it, but it sounds like they're interested. Hey, thank you, Jameson. I appreciate the donation, man. Thank you guys for all the donations. He said, Luke Walton, awful coach, coaching decisions, and the lack of LeBron mainly cost us the game tonight, but love the fight from our young Lakers core. Absolutely. You got to respect that. That's why, as you see, I'm not too upset because we took some positives out of this. Even though, the officiating was garbage, the coaching wasn't really that great, and the fourth quarter we fell apart. Young guys are looking good, especially Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram looks very solid. And Rondo's showing me that if we make it to the playoffs, he's going to be this super point guard that always shows up to the playoffs. That's this champion because, he has championship experience. And I love that, man. I absolutely love it. Dan is a young Peja. Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that, bro, because that used to be my nickname growing up in elementary school. When I first started sniping, they used to call me Peja. That was back when the Kings were really good, right? When they had Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, Peja, so it's funny that was actually my nickname at some point in my life. But then that transitioned to Kobe, and then at one point, I don't know, they always call me stuff, man. It's crazy. Do you think we will make the playoffs? I do. I still believe in this team. We're only like a couple games back. It's not even that big of a difference. But see, I don't know what position. If LeBron keeps missing games like this, Father Time is undefeated, keeps impacting us, then I don't know what place we're going to be. Last thing I want is to make the playoffs on the A seed and get bounced in the first round. I'd rather make it, top 5 seed and have a shot. Shannon Brown was nice. Dan, remember him? I do remember Shannon the Cannon Brown. I'll never forget when he got that block off the backboard and then Kobe Gasol and all of them, the way they reacted, man, that was funny. But, I remember him. I remember Vladimir Radmanovic. You guys remember him? Back then we were in desperate need of shooting, and then we traded for Radmanovic at one point, and he was solid for us. And then I remember trading for Trevor Ariza from the Orlando Magic at the time. That was a great pickup. And I even remember Ramon Sessions. I remember all these young players that came in and had a lot of promise. Do you guys remember Xavier Henry? Played under Coach Mike D'Antoni. And at one point, he was looking like a young stud. And then he went down with an injury, and nobody heard about him anymore. Andrew Bynum, of course, man. I remember Javaris Crittenton. You guys remember when we drafted him? I actually liked his street ball style He was very crafty. He had good skills, but his mind was elsewhere, man. He was gang banging, and that ultimately was the end of his career. I remember Sacre. Yep, I remember Ronny Turiev. Ronny Turiev was one of my favorites because he was just a great guy off the bench, brought in a lot of energy. Actually, had some skill. He could hit the mid range. He could attack the rim, play with a lot of passion. But best of all was his reactions on the sideline, man. I mean, I remember Earl Clark. 6'10" guy who was showing some promise as well under Mike D'Antoni. I mean, you name him, I remember him. Ryan Kelly drafted him out of Duke. I'm a diehard Laker, man. Kendall Marshall had his moment where he looked really solid. He was averaging over 10 assists per game. I mean, but who doesn't for Mike D'Antoni, right? Devin Ebanks, I remember him. I remember Devin Ebanks for a while. Everybody, man. Jordan Hill. And I'll never forget the night Jordan Hill was drafted because I wanted the Knicks to get Curry because I knew Curry was going to be a beast. And I remember Jordan Hill got drafted right after him, and the Knicks fans booed immediately because, again, Knicks fans are educated. Sometimes they'll get their boos wrong, but that time they knew they missed out on a superstar, and they ended up with a role player. So it's a huge difference sometimes. Tyrek Black, I used to like his energy. I used to call Tyrek Black and Thomas Robinson, who we had at the time, TNT because they were both explosive. So Steve Blake, man, the White Mamba. I remember Steve Blake. Eldon Campbell. Oh, that's way back. Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin didn't really make his mark in LA like he did in New York. So Andre Ingram, that was just last year. Love them. Smush Parker. Oh, don't get me started with Smush. I had a love-hate relationship with Smush Parker. When he first came to the Lakers, right, when we first got him, I remember that he was actually balling. His whole first season, he looked like an and one mixtape tour, man. He was dunking all over people, crossing people over. Smush was making a name for himself. But then it got to his head, and then he started clashing with Kobe. And then he started taking ill-advised shots, and then he was just basically a dummy after that. Him and Kwame are probably the two worst Lakers that have donned purple and gold after that year, man. Kwame Brown has brick hands. He had baby brick hands. He couldn't ever catch anything. He would always botch dunks. It was sad to watch. Dwight Howard, nobody remembers that bum for sure. Andrew Gallagher, oh, the mini mamba. I remember him. He had a nice three ball, but he was always going to be a G League or China player, man. Jordan Farmar was probably one of my favorite bench players. Man, I loved him. I saw him growing up play for UCLA. I love Jordan Farmar. He was very, very savvy, and he was athletic, man, sneaky athletic. I'll never forget when he dunked on Kevin Garnett in the finals. That was awesome. And then, I think he was one of the key pieces off the bench with the bench mob, that helped us win a championship. So shout out to Jordan Farmar, man. Sasha, who can't forget Sasha, man? A lot of passion, one of Kobe's favorite teammates for a reason. Very pesky defender. He could always stretch the floor. I mean, yeah, he was a knockdown, catch and shoot guy at one point. That's why they called him the Machine. I remember that. And then they made the little Machine YouTube videos. Oh, man, I used to love that. Anthony Peeler. Glenn Rice was one of my favorites as well, but he hooped way better for the Charlotte Hornets than he did for the Lakers, but still, he was still a sniper, man, and he could take people off the dribble. I used to like him. Eddie Jones. I was too young to remember Eddie Jones, but I do remember some of them. Some of Eddie Jones was nice. Shout out to D'Angelo Russell for making the All-Star team. Yeah, man, I congratulated him on Twitter. I'm proud of the kid. I always knew it, man. If you guys remember, I always say wait till that third, fourth year, some even on the fifth year. But you got to wait for these players to develop. And I always use it as a precautionary tale to our players. And I say if we don't trade for Anthony Davis, we stick with this young core because they're going to be special. A couple of them at least, they're going to end up all-stars or maybe even more. So that should be one of the main guidelines for Laker fans. I always say trade this player because they sucked one game or whatever. Gary Payton, man, the glove, he was at the end of his prime already when we picked him up, but he was still very entertaining to watch. Him and Karl Malone. That was heartbreaking to see Karl Malone not get a championship with the Lakers, even though I hated him when he was with Utah. But, man, I really wanted him to get one with the Lakers. DJ Mbenga. That goes – hey, who remembers that, man? DJ, he was probably one of the most popular players that never saw the court. Like, rarely would see garbage time, man. But he was somewhat of an exciting rim protector whenever he would come in. So, Antoine Jameson, again, we got him at the end of his career. Brian Cook, I liked him as a spot-up shooter, and Brian Cook could spot up, and at times he'll play solid defense, so I really liked him. Jody Meeks had a nice run under Mike D'Antoni. Liked him. Metta World Peace was crucial to the last championship we won against Boston. I can keep going. Lottie Divac, I was too young to remember his game with the Lakers, but I thank him for being a part of that Kobe trade. Trevor Ariza, of course. Trevor Ariza was big time for us, man. Chris Kaman, the only thing he's famous for is laying on the sideline when we were getting blown out. So that's all we're going to remember about him. Josh Powell, he was a solid power forward. He was a solid bench man. You know who I really liked was Ed Davis. I was bummed out when we couldn't re-sign Ed Davis. Devin George was nice. I used to like his defense, man. Devin George for defense. Chris Mim was part of one of the worst eras. After we traded Shaq, it was hard to watch basketball. But thank God for Kobe's outburst. If it wasn't for Kobe's outburst, that would have been unwatchable. Unwatchable. Dan, it's just they just reported that the Lakers are countering. That the Pelicans are countering? Yeah, I mean, I just said that as something that's probably going to happen next week. But if it just happened already, then, hey, speed up the process. Let's see what happens. I'm updating my timeline. Let's see what happens, guys. Pelicans expected to counter-offer Lakers with trade involving Kuzma, Ball, Ingram, Rajon Rondo, Ivica Zubac, and 2 first-round picks. Pelicans will send out AD plus their choice of Modric or Randall in this deal. I wouldn't mind having Randall back, but we're still giving away too much. I'm not sure if I like that. I'm not sure if I like that little counter offer. If they could remove one of the young core pieces, then maybe that gets done. But other than that, no, it seems like a lot. I know Anthony Davis is worth it, but dang, dude, they want 2 first-round picks, our whole young core, including Zoo. And but I will say this: if we get Randall back, that might soften the blow a little bit. Even though I don't see how Randall will work with LeBron and Anthony Davis, unless Randall has already developed a consistent 3-ball, but. We'll see, man. I do like Modric as well, but I take Randall. Randall for his toughness. He said, Dan, you have to give up all the young core for AD. Yeah, but you know what gets me is the fact that they're going to want to – I think they're going to want to attach a hefty contract to that. That's the only reason I wouldn't do it. He said, what about – we about to reunite with Randall? It's not confirmed. I mean, that sounds like something that they're going to counter offer based on the reports that I just read, but they haven't counter offered nothing officially yet. Trade talks will resume next week, according to reports. Now, something could break out tomorrow during the Super Bowl, but if they do it, if the trade goes down tomorrow during the Super Bowl, that's just the NBA's way of saying, you know what, forget you, NFL. We're in the midst of the season. Y'all should move the the regular season back a little bit past the NBA schedule or something. I don't know what it is. They're trying to send a message, though, because if you guys have noticed, the NBA trade talk has dominated sports radio, TV talk, everything, guys. Nobody's really talking that much about the Super Bowl, and the Rams are there. So I feel like this is part of the NBA's ploy to take away some of that attention. Of course I'm watching the Super Bowl. Of course. Dan, what are your thoughts if we end up getting Okafor back in a trade for AD? I mean, he's been hooping lately, but I'm still not high on Okafor simply because the NBA is moving away from post big men and is going more towards stretch big men. You saw how effective Mo Wagner was tonight with his ability to be able to take people off the dribble and stretch the floor as well. So, yeah, pretty much all I'm saying is I'm not sure how Okafor will fit. I mean, if the right trade comes along, sure, welcome addition. Why not? Let's give him a shot. But at the end of the day, man, I don't know. The Rams are the Avengers of the Patriots are Thanos. That's right, man. The Rams have to take this, though. Let's just hope Tom Brady doesn't snap his fingers. He said, Lonzo was supposed to be a bust. Why do they want our engine? Because everybody hates what they don't have. But as soon as they become available, they want to pull up and snatch it because they see the potential, man. Everybody knows Lonzo's not a bust. Only one or two people say this. People that say Lonzo's a bust are either Laker haters or they don't know basketball. So Lonzo's not a bust. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys for showing up. Go Rams. I hope Brady gets sacked several times. Hey, Sue and Aaron Donald and Brockers are going to have their hands full. But if they can get past that D-line, it's going to be a great, fun night to watch from the Rams. Secondary is going to be crucial, man. Secondary is going to be crucial. Also, let's hope Todd Gurley is all the way healthy because if that happens, it's a wrap, right? If we can get CJ and Gurley on the same page at the same time, we know what Robert Woods is going to do. We know what Brandon Cooks, people aren't talking about this, but he didn't play in the last Super Bowl because Belichick didn't want to play him. This is his chance to get a revenge. I wouldn't be shocked if Brandon Cooks ends up being the MVP, because I think he's going to play his heart out, and I think he's going to make some big time plays. And I'm cheering for the Rams. I hope Brandon Cooks gets the MVP and they win. Thank you so much, No Pill Zero. You said one of our young core, Josh Hart, Zubox, and 2 picks. That sounds fair to me. Let's see what else he said. AD is worth a lot. However, he's also injury prone. He has been injured quite a lot, but just that he's still 25. He hasn't had like a major career-ending type injury. He's not like on some Porzingis ACL tear type stuff. So that's why his value is still super high. But yeah, you're right. It would be scary if he gets one of those crazy injuries, man. God forbid it. Especially if you give up the whole farm for him. So, Dan, do you think the Lakers are going to accept that offer, bro? I'm not sure. Magic is smart, man. Magic's smart. I don't think he wants to get his leg pulled. So, $20 bet, Dan. I got pets. $20 bet, huh? I don't want to bet with you, bro. Honestly, I don't want to take your money. How about that? He said, I love the walk down memory lane with the shout outs to all those former Lakers. I love it too, man. I could talk Lakers all day. Again, I've been a Laker fan since I was a child, so I remember every single era from the Kobe Shaq to the Kobe Gasol era to what we have now. So you can name players from any of those eras, and I definitely, they're still fresh in my memory. I'll never forget. Derek Fisher, 0.4. I mean, Kobe hitting that dagger in Portland. To get us to the playoffs. Kobe hitting that dagger in LA against Phoenix, even though they still won the series, but that was an impressive series by Kobe. So many memories, man. I wish Nash would have won with the Lakers. Me too. But one criticism I had with Jerry is that sometimes he would get veterans that were way too old. And that's something I hope Magic and Rob don't do. Now, we've already done it with one guy who I think is Tyson Chandler. I do like what he's done for us. However, I think he's too old to play heavy minutes. And honestly, if we had to amnesty somebody, he'd be my prime candidate because we still have JaVale there. I think Zubac has earned the right to play, and I really want to see what Mo Wagner can do. So he'd be my odd man out. I feel like we have too many players at that position. And if we need to go out and get like a Wesley Matthews or something, like a shooter, something we need, that's who I would subtract, right? Because he's not the same, man. But I do like him for locker room presence. He's a good vet. So I'm not saying we should cut him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we had to cut somebody. It'd either be him or Beasley. But I like Beasley scoring, and I like Lance Stevenson's ability to be a spark plug off the bench at times, even though sometimes he does play some boneheaded basketball. Either way, it'll be tough to make a roster cut on this team. But if I had to push came to shove, I'm looking at every position, and I see we got Mo Wagner there, we got Zoo, and we got JaVale. If we needed to add a shooter, I would cut Tyson Chandler. As hard as that decision will be. Dennis Rodman, the worm. Oh, my God, man. Dennis Rodman was a nutcase, but, man, could he rebound and play defense. Yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow, too, man. And actually, I have a long night ahead of me still to get ready for tomorrow. So on that note, I'm actually let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe on your way out if you already haven't. Now, tomorrow's going to be all about the Rams. So the only way y'all see me tomorrow is if something breaks. So even if news leaks that, the Lakers are engaged with the Pelicans and they're in heavy talks, I'm not going to be making a video until something breaks because it's Super Bowl and I want to enjoy it with my family and friends. So other than that, guys, I should see you guys as soon as possible, as soon as something breaks or next pregame. And I'm excited for the Super Bowl. Go Rams, baby. Let's get revenge for LA, man. This is the revenge of LA for what they did to the Dodgers. So let's go out and get it, man. Y'all have a great night. Hopefully you guys enjoy your time tomorrow, and I'll see you guys soon, man. Much love.